This is number 10 off of worksheet 6-5 on the page 337 side. And it's saying to use the quadratic formula to solve the equation 8x squared plus 6x minus 9 equals 0 that we've got over here. And I know that I can use the quadratic formula if certain things are in place, if I have it in the right form. So our equation is given to us in descending order, and that's key. And then also it's set equal to 0. That's important too. If it were set equal to 5 or something, I couldn't apply the formula yet. I'd have to rearrange things to get 0 on the right side and everything else on the left. But this equation is already given to us just how we need it, and so I can start looking for my a, b, and c. And those are the values that will change in the quadratic formula. All this stuff in green over here, all that's in green is constant. It stays the same no matter what, and it's the letters a, b, and c that change every time, every problem. And so all we need to do is find those a, b, and c's. Well, my 8 is my a because it's in front of the x squared term, and since it's in descending order, it means it's the one in front of the first term. And then my 6 is the b. It's the next one. It's next to the x terms, the coefficient of the x term. And then my constant is -9, and that is c. So basically you just go a, b, c, right in a row. But that only works if you put it in descending order. So now that we know those, we can plug them in. And I've got the equation started down here again. So let's plug in. Got to finish the square root part. So we're going to plug in our b first, and it is 6. So wherever I see b, I'm putting 6 in my formula. And then the next part is 4 times a. My a is 8. And I also notice there's an 8 on the bottom as well. So or an a on the bottom as well, so I need to put 8 there. And then c only shows up once, but he's important. And I've got to remember that -9, not just 9. Alright, now those values are in. And the tricky part comes because we've got to simplify. Well, I want to focus on what's under the radical first. So I'm going to draw my radical here. And I know I've got 36 because that's 6 times 6, 6 squared. And the minus, and then on my calculator I'm going to do 4 times 8 times a -9, and I get -288. But I know a negative subtracted is the same as adding. So I really end up with the square root of 324, which isn't too bad. So I'll go to the next page here, and there's my 324, got my -6 there, or my opposite 6, and 2 times 8 on the bottom. Let's just write those cleaner. So this is the same as -6 plus or minus square root of 324 all over 16. Now 324, that's a pretty big number. I'm pretty sure it simplifies because I know I can divide it by 2, and I also checked on my calculator I can divide it by 4. So over here, I'm splitting it up, and I get 4 times 81, and then I go, oh, this is actually a perfect square because the 4 breaks down to 2 and 2, 81 breaks down to 9 and 9. So if I have a pair of 2's, I can pull out a 2, a pair of 9's, I can pull out a 9. Turns out I don't have anything left under the radical. 18 times 18 is 324. So if I had known my perfect squares, I upped that high. I could have just known it right off the bat, but I didn't, and that's okay because I still got to the answer by factoring it down. So now I've got -6 plus or minus 18 over 16, and I could reduce that a little bit. They're all even, so I know I could pull out a 2 from the top, and I could pull out a 2 from the bottom. If I do that, on the top I'll have -6 divided by 2 is -3, 18 divided by 2 is 9, on the bottom I'll have the 8. So now my 2's will cancel, and 3, 9, and 8 can't simplify anymore, but I know that I can break it into my two answers. And so I'll do that now. I'll either have x equals -3 plus 9 all over 8, or I'll have x equals -3 minus 9 all over 8, because I've got two answers stuck up together there. So -3 plus 9, well, that turns into 6. Let's write that over here. It turns into 6 over 8. 6 over 8, both are divisible by 2, so that's really 3/4. Most simple way of writing it. And then our other x is -3, take away 9 more, -12 over 8. That reduces, both are divisible by 4, so I get 3, -3, -12 divided by 4, -3, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So our two answers are 3/4 and -3/2. And if we plug both those back into our original equation, they'd both give us 0 in the end.